Am I overreacting for refusing to let my fiance's aunt see our newborn baby until she apologizes for unsolicited jokes? Posted in r/am I the a-hole on July 6, 2025. My fiance, 26 male, and I, 24 female, have recently had our first child. This has been a pretty big deal for us since I had a major pregnancy loss with our daughter in 2024. A couple days ago, my fiance's aunt flew in from town to congratulate us and meet our son. When she got to our house, she kept making unsolicited jokes about this baby and my loss last year. My fiance had told her multiple times to stop and got very serious about it. She, however, still refused to apologize to either of us and continued making jokes. I eventually told this aunt that I'm not going to allow her to see the baby anymore until she apologizes and proves to the both of us that she can be a mature adult. I made it very clear to her that I don't need empathy. I don't need her to support either of us going through this, nor do I even need her to give us any grievances. All I need from her is to be excited for us in the present moment, not to compare it to the past. Edit, she got very angry when I told her this and yelled at us for being unfair and claimed we were taking her away from her own family. You mean the family that you're actively disrespecting? Making jokes about something that's traumatic for somebody? Like, what the fuck are you on? I mean, I don't even think they should give her a second chance. Like, she's not going to actually be sorry about it. She's not going to be actually mature about it. If she does apologize or whatever, she's just doing it so she can see the kid. Yeah, this is not an aunt that I would want anywhere near my child. OP did add a note here that the fiance is fully in agreement with OP and is backing them up 100%. He agrees that the aunt's words, actions, and levels of immaturity are unacceptable. None of the comments are very relevant. It's just some of the people's reactions, no added information. So I'm probably gonna skip that, you guys. Wow, a supportive partner, what a concept. I mean, some of the OPs that we've read need to take notes for real on a supportive partner. Update on the same post, July 7th, 2025, the next day. My fiance's aunt is currently staying with his parents. Earlier today, my fiance went over to talk to her about it. I stayed home by choice for what I feel are pretty obvious reasons. He went over and explained to her that we are cutting all contact with her. She's not invited to our wedding. She will never see our son again, etc. He told her that she crossed the line and that because of her actions, if we did receive an apology, we would have a hard time believing her apology was sincere. Obviously, much more was said. I'm just giving a more general overview. The part that threw me off even more was the fact that she never even told his parents what happened. His parents were shocked and flipped out on her. They told her that her options were going to be to stay at a hotel and experience this area by herself or to get a ticket to fly back home. Dude, W parents, we love that shit. If you have to hide your actions from close people around you, you're probably in the fucking wrong. None of my fiance's immediate family, his parents and 2 younger sisters, have turned on or blamed me. I'm still lucky and thankful to have my fiance as well as most of his family in my life. Thank you for reading as well as the input I got in the comments. We love a happy ending. That was a great palate cleanser compared to this fucking shit show that we just read. Oh my God. I mean, it's not perfect, but there's only one party in the wrong and they got what they deserve ending. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that I'm tired of raising a kid that is not mine? Original post May 19th, 2023, posted in r/am I the a-hole. I, 31 male, am married to my wife Amber, 30 female. We have a daughter Emma, 7 female. The problem is my wife's best friend Jennifer, 30 female, has a daughter as well, Harper, 7 female. Well, Harper's dad is a lazy sack of crap and refuses to do anything with his daughter. He's the type of guy that brags about how he never changed a diaper. Jennifer and Harper are usually at Amber and Mai's house on the weekend because Harper's dad is drinking and watching sports all weekend. On Saturdays, I normally spend all day with my daughter because I don't see her as much as I want during the week. However, with Harper being there every Saturday, anything I do with Emma, I have to do with Harper. Take Emma to the zoo, it's Emma, Harper, and I. Taught them both how to ride bikes. Take them to both dance class. Take them both to the kids' salon, and so on. Mother's Day was the last straw. I took them both to dance class Saturday morning. Amber and I also pay for both dance classes because Deadbeat won't. On the way home, Emma asked if we could stop to get something for Mom for Mother's Day. I said sure, but then it ended up I had to buy something for Harper to get her mom as well. On the way home, I just kept thinking, why am I buying someone else's wife a Mother's Day gift? That's his job. A few days later, because I did not want to ruin Mother's Day, I told my wife that I'm tired of raising Harper. Her real father needs to step up. I'm tired of it taking away time I get to spend with Emma. She said that Jennifer is her best friend and we need to be there for Harper. Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but hey, if Jennifer's your best friend, where is the your husband's a deadbeat and you need to leave him talk? I mean, maybe that talk is there, but like, that's what being a best friend really means to me. Now she's not speaking to me and I'm sleeping in the guest bedroom. Am I the a-hole? It looks like OP added some sort of edit with more info. Emma and Harper are best friends. It was my idea to spend Saturday with Emma. I work more during the week, so I wanted to spend Saturday with Emma and to give my wife a bit of a break. We pay for things because Jennifer's husband thinks it's a waste of money to pay for dance class and Jennifer can't afford to pay by herself. Jennifer and Harper do things with Amber and Emma 1 or 2 times a week together during the weeknights. Okay, here's what I'll say here, chat. I don't think anyone actually sucks here, except for the bummy ass husband of Jennifer and dad of Harper. That being said, I think the way that they're going about this is like a little bit of an everyone sucks here. I do think, especially for your child's best friend, I think there is a little bit of above and beyond the Call of Duty that you should do for them. Maybe this was just the way I'm raised. Maybe you guys will disagree with this, but if your child's best friend has a shitty dad, I think there is a little bit of responsibility there to support that child if you can. Now, what I will say is I think the way that the child is currently being supported is too much. If the dad wants to have time with his own daughter, that's just him and the own daughter, I think that needs to be a priority. It needs to be something that happens every once in a while. As much as it's not his responsibility, be a good parent to his child's best friend. I also think the wife needs to see like, hey, they're doing a lot here and they're also overstepping in a lot of ways of what a parent should normally do, but I still think it's a good thing. And like, I don't know, I guess it's not, like I'm saying, it's not their responsibility, but I think as a parent, you should be prepared to take in a child that is your child's best friend who's being neglected. Like, I truly believe that. And maybe that's just the way that Kathy raised me, because shout out Kathy. Not that it's ever been super severe, but she has taken care of a couple of me and my siblings' friends in a ways that were above and beyond the Call of Duty, just because that's how Kathy be. And I think that's how it should be. I really do. I think there's some middle ground here that they need to get to. To be honest, y'all, I think this might be really mean to me. To me, it's kind of ridiculous that he's complaining about buying something for his child's best friend for her mom for Mother's Day, who also happens to be the best friend of your wife. Like, I get it. It's not your responsibility, but like complaining about it to me, unless you guys are starved for money, complaining about it seems really stupid. I think there needs to be like a middle ground here. Also, I think OP, if it's not happening, I think OP needs to be like, listen, you need to talk to Jennifer about either kicking her husband's ass in gear or getting a divorce. Paying for dance class is above and beyond. You know what, Anna? That's actually a very good point. I will agree with that. Okay, let me look at some of the comments, because I think the comments might give some more info here. Someone asked, where's Harper's mom and all this? OP said, hanging out at our place. Harper started to come along because I thought it would be mean to take her friend and not her. At the start, it was not all the time like it is now. Someone replied, so your wife probably enjoys hanging out child-free with her friend every weekend. If your wife doesn't agree to friend-free days, maybe the mom should start needing to attend the outings too. I don't understand why Harper's mom isn't at least driving kids to dance since you pay for it, etc. It's actually kind of a decent point. Hey, if we're paying for this, you got to handle all the rides. But also, I don't think it's a question of who's spending time with the kids or not. It's a question of, I want just time with my own kid. OOP, our house is on the way to dance, so she comes here first. I also like going to dance. It's kind of fun being the only dad there. And after class, we have a routine of going to the local bakery and getting a croissant and smoothie for breakfast. Oh, that's actually kind of fucking cute. I can't even lie. Are the gifts and things you spend on her getting paid back to you? OOP, the short answer is no. The longer version is Amber and I make a decent amount more money than Jennifer and her husband does not like to waste his money on the kid. Jennifer cannot afford to pay us back. So any money I spend on her kid, I know we are not getting back. Someone said 7 years in, you've set the expectation and Harper is not going to understand your withdrawing. So, for taking 7 years to decide this was an issue. OOP, I see what you're saying, but it's gradually gotten to this point over 7 years. Part of it is she is here more now than she was when she was younger. Part of it is, as Emma has gotten older, we do more involved things. When they were 3, we just went to the playground down the street. Now it's trips to the science center. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with this, because I think something can be normalized that you maybe aren't a huge fan of, that you kind of just put up with, but then finally one day you reach your tipping point. Like, are we really saying that like, oh, you're not allowed to reach a tipping point on something if it took you 7 years to get there? Don't get me wrong, I understand that it's the standard now, but like, if he's not happy with it, it at least should be a discussion. I don't think this is very invalid of him to be like, hey, I'm taking care of someone else's kid. That at least should open up a discussion about that kid. Do I think that he should like completely cut the kid off? No, absolutely not. Because like, for all intents and purposes, OOP is basically that kid's father. Someone said you should definitely have a talk with this sorry excuse of a father. If anything, just tell him what you think of him. OOP, I would, but he's not a civil discourse type of guy, but more of an alpha male beat you up type of person. Yeah, I actually don't agree with this. I think based off of how he's described the husband, it would make everyone's lives worse to bring this up, including the kid and wife. I think if anything, the discourse needs to be with the wife of like, you need to leave this guy. Someone asked, why do you pay for her dance classes? Why can't either of Harper's parents do it? OOP, I pay for the classes because Emma wanted Harper in class with her. Harper's father is the type who his money is my money and Jennifer's money is their money, and he does not want to waste money on classes. I don't know, man. That one's a hard one. That one's a hard one because like I kind of agree that it isn't his responsibility to pay for those classes unless you figured out some sort of arrangement that makes it worth it. I guess it really depends, like, what is the goal here? Because I think depending on your number one priority, the answer is different. Like if the answer is I just want to make my child as happy as possible, I think the answer is to keep paying for the dance classes. If you decide to stop paying for the dance classes, that means nobody's going to pay for the dance classes. Harper's not going to be able to go to class with Emma. Emma's going to be unhappy, and therefore you aren't achieving your number one goal. But I totally understand not wanting to pay for the classes. Like if you guys are like, man, we are wasting so much money that we could be putting towards Emma's future, then I totally kind of understand being like, okay, we're not going to pay for these classes anymore. And maybe too, maybe that becomes your and Emma's solo time, and anything extra Harper is included. I think there's a compromise based off of like what you think is the end goal here. I think Harper's mom needs to leave the dad, honestly. He clearly doesn't want to be a dad anyways. I agree with that 100%, but then that comes with talking. If I'm in the comments of this, I'm asking like, hey, is your wife encouraging Jennifer to leave her shit ass husband? That's the information that I need, because that is truly the needle mover here to getting what everyone wants. Y'all, I just kind of want to go to the update. All right, so the first update is June 2nd, 2023, nearly 2 weeks later. My wife and I are fine. Her reaction was based on poor word choices by me, poor communication by both of us, and some things I was unaware of at the time. The short version is, things at home were much worse than I was aware of for Jennifer, and my wife had only recently found out how bad things were. Mother's Day was the straw that broke the camel's back for Jennifer as well. She was raised in a you must stay together for the kids family. When Harper came to me for a gift, she realized that her daughter did not see her sperm donor as a father, so it was time to get out. Jennifer came to my wife to ask for help leaving because she had no family in the area, and Jennifer does not have the financial resources to leave on her own. So the night my wife was going to ask me if we could help her is when I told her I was tired of raising someone else's kid. That's what caused her reaction. Okay, all right. So just literally the worst timing in terms of OP expressing his feelings and the wife having a big ask. Everything is in perspective now on why like everybody handled it wrong. The Saturday after our initial argument, Jennifer did not come over and Emma went to her grandparents. So the wife and I had a long discussion about what was going on, and that's when I found out all the stuff going on with Jennifer. The wife and I decided that Jennifer and Harper can stay with us for the time being. My problem was never with those two. It was that I had to take over for the deadbeat. When we told Emma about this, she was super happy her friend was staying with her. We had a conversation with her that if she wants to have time with either parent without Harper, just let us know, and we do not want her to feel left out of anything. Last week, with the help of a U-Haul and some friends of mine, we got all of Jennifer's and Harper's stuff and moved it into our house. The good thing is we have a 4-bedroom house, so everyone gets a bedroom. The bad news is my wife's office got moved to the basement. Wish me luck. We shall see how this goes. Okay. You know what, y'all? That's kind of the happy ending. Deadbeat's getting left. Harper's happy. Emma's happy. Jennifer's being supported. You and your wife had a great conversation. Chat, big W wubbies. That makes me happy. There are 2 more updates, so that makes me worried that one of them is going to be bad. Update 2 was posted on May 12th, 2024, 11 months later. Jen and Harper are still living with us. As I mentioned before, Jen did not make that much money. She worked as a phlebotomist for our local health network. The good news is, with the current nursing shortage, they have a program where they will pay for employees to go to nursing school. She was able to start that in the end of August. The bad news is it's an 18-month program, and they only let you work 20 hours a week while you are in the program. So the arrangement is, once she graduates, she will move out then. That should be next May. The divorce with Deadbeat is still going on. Once he found out he was going to have to pay child support, he tried every dirty, nasty trick he could think of. No idea when that'll be finished. My wife is doing good. She's happy. She is helping her best friend, but 5 people in a house is a lot more work than 3. Since she works from home, the pre and post school work falls on her. Emma and Harper are still best friends. Shockingly, Harper is doing much better in this environment than before. They don't do everything together anymore. Harper quit dance class, but she started with soccer. I think knowing that she will get fatherly attention no matter what she is doing has given her some freedom to pursue other interests. Oh, wait, that's so fucking cute. Oh, wait, Harper has turned into my Lego buddy. Stop. That's fucking cute, chat. OP ain't even the stepdad, but he's the dad that stepped up. That's really cute. I like that. Emma never had any interest, but Harper and I have done some nice sets together. Emma and I still have our daddy-daughter dates on the weekend. I still take her to dance class, and she started to take fencing classes. I don't know if I should be proud or scared that she could defeat me in a sword fight. Spoken like a true dad, honestly. I think I'm doing better a year later. The fact that there's a plan with a timetable for Jen and Harper has relieved a lot of stress from my life. That I also don't have to see deadbeat has also been a relief. I also try to take a few hours a month for me time and to do my hobbies. The bad part is I had thought that I was done with the portion of my life where I had roommates. It will also be nice when Jen either gets her nursing job and or gets child support so that Amber and I can stop footing the bill for so much. For all the people that said Jen was going to become our sister wife, or that I was going to cheat on my wife with her, or that she was going to ruin my marriage out of spite, or any of the weird sexual fantasies some of you guys had, absolutely nothing has happened. That is a crazy line to come before the final update another year later. Like, I really hope that wasn't unintentional foreshadowing. Please. If this one ends poorly, I will cry. You guys will see a grown man cry live on stream. New update. 1 year after the last update that we just read, July 10th, 2025. So it's been over 2 years now, and I've gotten a few requests for updates. And at this point, I think everything is concluded. So here is the final update. Emma, my daughter, is doing great. Still doing dance, still loves the zoo, still best friends with Harper. Harper, Jennifer's daughter, is doing good, still my Lego buddy, has gotten into video games. She got a Switch last year, big into Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing. I have no idea what the point is to those games, but she must like them. I know way too much about her favorite character, Audi. She is not doing dance anymore. Amber, my wife, is still killing it at work. At this point, I might be the gold digger in our relationship. Any guy that does not feel comfortable with their wife being the primary breadwinner, I feel sorry for you. No, for real. Dude, I want a wife that makes more money than I do. High key. Let me be the trophy husband. I want a wife who's like, oh yes, go do your silly little streaming while I go make the bread. Like, she's still stressed out at home because she has a lot of extra housework that falls upon her because she is the one home because she works from home. She started to run to help relax, and as is typical for her, she excelled at it. Jennifer graduated from nursing school in May. She just passed her NCLEX exam, which I guess is the exam nurses must pass before they can get hired. She said she got a job on a med-surg telefloor. I have no idea what that is, but she sounds excited. Her divorce is done now. It went quick once Deadbeat got his new girlfriend pregnant. Good luck to her. And she insisted that they get married. Shockingly, sarcasm alert, Deadbeat still has no interest in seeing Harper. He has seen her maybe 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. That's so fucked, man. The exciting news is that Jen and Harper moved out at the start of July. She rented an apartment. So I finally have my house back. The apartment complex has a pool, so Emma's excited for sleepovers. The first sleepover is tentatively scheduled for this weekend. As long as everything is unpacked, I'm looking forward to a night of just the wife and I. With everything settled and money for the divorce, Jen has started to pay us back. We refused money, but she paid for Amber and I to go to Disney for a Run Disney event this year. It was fine, but a 10K in Florida is not my idea of fun. But my wife had a good time. Amber wants to get up to a half marathon. She also paid for us all to go to Disney World this summer. Both girls are super excited. The both can't wait to meet the princesses. And yes, there will be separate hotel room for them and us. It sucks that Harper's dad has no interest in her. With them moving out, I've been promoted to cool uncle. I think I am fine with that role. I am also looking forward to the Disney trip. I have loved Disney since I was a kid. I mean, super noble of OP and the wife to be like, hey, you don't have to pay us back. But like, yeah, maybe accept a couple little things here and there. I'm glad it all worked out. Thank God for a fucking wholesome one, because we have been getting shit kicked in this stream. That's so sweet. I do really appreciate that he did like step up. Him and his wife did communicate. The best possible ending happened. In a world where shitty things happen, sometimes it's nice when the shitty thing doesn't happen. I love how Jennifer didn't take advantage of their generosity, is actually trying to pay them back. I love their friendship. Exactly. Jennifer sounds like the type of friend who deserves the support that she's getting from OP and Amber. I do think there are some friends out there who just take advantage of their friends' generosity. The guy I'm dating and his friends gatekeeped me about my hobbies and career. I'm feeling embarrassed. We have a 29 male guy that OP is dating and a 25 female OP. Originally posted to r/relationship advice on November 15th, 2019. I need some help processing this. They made me question whether or not I'm actually authentic when it comes to what I'm interested in. I feel like I don't want to talk about my interests with anyone because I don't want to be pop quizzed. The person I'm dating, together 3 months, I'll call him Dan, recently invited me out to dinner to meet some of his coworkers. The first red flag was he invited everyone out to a Hooters. I've heard enough. Break up with him. The fuck do you mean? Dude, if I ever get a girlfriend and unironically take her to Hooters, I want one of y'all to take me out back and put me down Old Yeller style. Cause what do you mean, dog? What the fuck do you mean? The first red flag was he invited everyone out to a Hooters and said they chose that restaurant because it's close to where they work and is easy to get to, which is true, but there are several other restaurants nearby that offer better food and a better atmosphere. Before he invited me out to dinner, he half joked that his coworkers, all of them male, didn't believe that he was dating a hot girl that's into the same hobbies as them. They are hobbies that are considered to be primarily for men. I was a little irked at that comment, but he said he was just joking around. This pretty much became the catchphrase for the men that night. When everyone arrived at the restaurant, Dan and his coworkers were making comments about the girls that worked there and their physical appearances. This made me a little uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything. What are we doing with this man, girl? Like, what? Come on, you can't do better than this guy. Once everyone ordered their food/drinks, his friends started to quiz me about my interests. Many of them share the same male-dominated hobbies I'm interested in, and they more or less just tried to see if I knew facts about the hobby, as opposed to asking me questions about what I like/don't like, or what I'm currently doing in said hobby. For example, if my hobby was American history, one of them would ask an esoteric question like, oh, so you like American history? How many $1 bills are currently in circulation? How old is the French Broad River? Listen, I don't care what hobby you like. If you're one of these people, you're kind of a chode. Like, it's like that, oh, you like this band? Name 5 songs. What if I just like one of their songs? So what? What are you gonna do about it? I also work as a junior automation engineer at a startup software company. I haven't been writing code that long as I was working in QA prior and learned how to code while I was in that position. I'm really green and I know I still have a lot to learn. The projects I'm working on are small and I'm getting help at work. All of his friends are senior level software engineers and were quizzing me about my work and trying to see how much I actually know. They were asking about advanced things I do not know about and were asking me technical questions that don't even apply to my job. But they were all smiling and laughing and would frequently say something like, aw, we're just kidding. Okay, so they're little fragile boys. Listen, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. You are the person that you surround yourself with. What you should be grasping from this is you are literally dating one of these guys that you don't like. He just has a mask on, bro. This is how he actually is. He's a Hooters going, misogynistic, fragile piece of shit. At one point, I felt like I was at some weird interview and was taking one question at a time from each D-bag at the table. I know I stopped fake smiling at some point and just emotionlessly answered their questions. I think one of them became self-aware because he just looked down at his phone for the rest of the evening, didn't ask me anything else, and just looked uncomfortable. When they weren't asking pointed questions at me, they were talking to each other and ignoring me. I'd be interrupted if I tried to include my thoughts on a subject or nod at me and look away to someone else. I should mention all these guys were 5 to 10 years older than me. I'm 25, the guy I'm dating is 29, and his coworkers are in their early mid-30s. I don't have as much experience as they do. Part of me was hoping I could meet peers who could have helped guide me or answer my questions about their careers. Instead, one of them literally asked me to give him an SQL query. They all kept saying they were just kidding around or just joking and laughing about it, but it was so cringy. Dan was sitting beside me and wasn't stopping this behavior from his coworkers. He was coaching me, I guess? Saying things like, oh, you know this one, or come on, you got this. We talked about this last week. Dan also made the comment of, see, she's really smart too, to one of the guys at the table. Girl, Dan sounds like such a fucking bitch. I mean, honey, you are 3 months in this relationship. Let's just snip, snip, chop, chop this bullshit. That whole night was just awful. He was acting irritated at me because he saw my whole mood change when I was being quizzed by his friends. He said he noticed me having an attitude with his coworkers when they were just having fun and trying to get to know me. That it was immature of me to have been obviously annoyed and that I audibly sighed multiple times when one of his friends spoke to me. Okay, so his friends were assholes to you and then he was upset at you for that? I can't stop seeing Dan as a super cringy dude now. I thought he was acting ridiculous and seemed more like a 13-year-old boy as opposed to someone who's supposed to be turning 30 in a couple of months. I'm pretty sure I can't go on with the relationship at this point. I don't think this is an overreaction on my part if I were to break up with him. Is it within reason to end a relationship after this event? Everything was going fine before this happened, but now I just feel gross. The dinner happened last night and I haven't returned any of his texts today. I know ghosting is wrong, but I don't want to look at him or speak to him. The thought of him just kind of disgusts me at this point. I've never felt like someone's show poodle before. I don't know if I'll feel differently in a week or if I'm just unjustified in my anger. Nah, girl, you need to cut this bitch off. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think you should ghost if you're like in an actual relationship with someone. I think ghosting is like if you guys are in a talking phase or just kind of like seeing each other, whatever. I think you just need to text them and be like, yeah, so like going to fucking Hooters with your friends has really revealed to me what kind of guy you actually are, and I don't fuck with that guy. Acting like this and he's pushing 30, you're right, that is crazy, y'all. That's coming from a guy who's also pushing 30. I do want to hop into the relevant comments here. First one, you are seeing Dan as a super creepy dude because Dan is a super creepy dude. This guy does not respect you, and he purposely brought you to a restaurant and disrespected you by talking about the women there. Here's what happened. They brought you to Hooters to undermine your confidence and put you in a disadvantage. In parentheses, hi, we're a bunch of guys that are going to go to Hooters and talk about the appearance of the women there while the one woman at our table sits and watches us. They all, including Dan, treated you like a specimen as if you were a stupid little girl. Dump Dan and his juvenile, misogynistic friends, please. OOP replied, you're right. In a way, I'm kind of glad this night happened so I could see who Dan really is. Even if he didn't mean anything malicious, he's still an immature bro, and I don't want to be with that. I'm not going to ghost him. I think I'm going to use this thread to come up with a series of good pointers about how everything he did was wrong. I'm also laughing at the fact that his friends will likely make fun of him after I break up with him. I'll do it this weekend so he has something to talk about Monday morning at work. Someone asked, I wonder why Dan and his friends have to go to Hooters and leer at the waitresses when they're just so good at talking to women. OOP replied, I knew Dan and his coworkers would frequently go to Hooters for lunch, red flag. He always told me he didn't like how misogynistic that place was, but he really enjoyed the wings. If you really like the wings that much, just DoorDash them, okay? I feel like if you're a dude, especially a dude in a relationship, there's like 0.1% reasons why you should go. I can maybe understand it if you're just like a stupid college kid or something like that. Go party, be an idiot, whatever. But I feel like once you become a grown man, going to Hooters is weird as fuck. But he really enjoyed the wings, cue eye roll. But the way that they were talking about the waitresses and even how they thought of some of the waitresses were too old to be working there really bothered me. This commenter said, one of my exes was a sex worker programmer and she what? Software, not sex worker. I was like, what? Does she program sex workers? Crazy abbreviation to use here. One of my exes was a software programmer and she had more in common with my software friends than she did with their girlfriends and wives. So at parties, she hung out with us guys. None of us made her feel uncomfortable about work stuff. Your boyfriend and his friends are not a good group of people to become involved with. OOP replied, it surprised me how shitty these guys were because everyone at my current job, male, female, junior, senior, manager, whatever, is cool as fuck. I mean, I think a lot of it is like there are some jobs that won't put up with those kinds of people, but then there are other jobs that don't give a fuck and therefore get flooded by people like the ones that are your boyfriend's friends and probably your boyfriend too. They're all helpful and super humble. The more senior people have no problem holding your hand and teaching you without making you feel like a dumbass. We have all started somewhere. Someone guessed the hobby was Magic the Gathering. OOP replied, it was actually several hobbies and interests that Dan would brag about to the guys. D&D, video games, and oddly enough, the fact that I enjoyed expensive scotch. Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, like, the only right answer here is break up with him, which it seems like OP is gonna do from these relevant comments. Sorry, I love you for thinking sex worker, not software. I've never seen software abbreviated as SW. Update and some relevant comments. All right. The update on this, November 19th, 2019, comes 4 days later. Wow, I triggered a lot of fragile men in my first post. To those who were triggered, all I have to say is LOL. The actual update is a little further down if that was all you wanted to see. Yeah, I'm not gonna read this part, guys, because I don't think it's very relevant, but basically there were a lot of incel men in the comments. Listen, all I'm gonna say is this is pretty black and white in terms of who's wrong here, Dan and the friends. If you don't see it like that, you're fucking brain dead. Update. After the post, I decided it would be best to end things through a phone call. I mentioned ghosting, but it's probably best he knows how and why he fucked up. I waited until Saturday to reach out to him, told him we need to talk. I'm paraphrasing here, but this is basically what the convo went like. Dan, this is about the dinner, isn't it? OP? Yeah, it is. Dan. And? OP. I don't think I've ever felt so unwelcome in a friend group before. It felt like a shitty interview. All they did was test my knowledge. No one tried to get to know me. And when actual conversation was going on, I was ignored or interrupted if I tried to talk. Dan. I don't feel like it was anything like that. OP. Okay, so how often do you guys sit around just asking questions like, quick, what is the SQL query if you want to delete 2 rows from 2 different tables? Dan, I don't know. OP, no, really, do you quiz your friends randomly like that at work or out and about? Dan, no, not really. OP, and why not? Why don't you just ask lightning round quizzes like that? Because it's not what normal people do? Dan, I don't know. They were just having fun and joking around. OP. It wasn't fun for me. I have male and female friends in all sort of professions. I've never cornered any of them to test their knowledge. I trust they know what they're doing. I ask them about work, what they're doing. You know, normal questions. Dan. Okay. OP. I'm not going to print out a CPA exam and quiz my accountant friend. Don't you think that would be a little fucked up? Dan. I don't know. Maybe. Yo, this dude is just such a bitch about it. Oh, I don't know. Okay. He knows he's in the wrong, but he doesn't want to admit that he's in the wrong. We talked a little bit more about that night, and I gave him more specific examples of what he and his friends did, and he never really had any good answers. It was a lot of, I don't know, and single word answers. I told him I created a Reddit post, and I would send it to him. He was a little pissed off that I did that, felt like I had no right to do so. At the end of the conversation, he asked if we were done. I told him, yeah, that I can't see a future with him, that I saw a different side of him that night, and I don't want to be someone's prize poodle on display for the world to see. He didn't really say anything after that, just hung up the phone. I sent him the URL for my first post. He texted me throughout the weekend, but I didn't respond. He read the post that I sent him and wasn't happy with it, and said he couldn't believe so many people were on my side and were hating on him. Bro, you took her to fucking Hooters. I was on her side after the first 3 sentences. Right off the rip, I already know how stupid you are. He sent a few more angry texts after that, like he couldn't believe we were breaking up over something so stupid. He did send a few rounds of I'm sorries and let's try to work through this. But when I didn't respond, he just went back to angry texting me. Also, I did find his friend who buried his head in his phone that night and sent him the Reddit link and asked if that sounded like what had happened. Dan's friend said that he knew what his friends were doing was wrong and felt bad for me. He apologized for not stepping in and assumed that Dan would eventually speak up for me on my behalf. He also apologized for joining them in the beginning and wished me luck in my career. All right, well, at least one of them isn't brain dead. I don't think the relevant comments here are very important. It's just kind of elaborating on how stupid his reaction was. Don't get me wrong, I think the right move was to call him out on his behavior, but I think at the age of 29, there is just such a smaller chance of especially a man changing their behavior or seeing the ways that they're wrong. That man is hopeless. I wouldn't put any money on betting that he will change in the future. Not y'all in the comments being like, yo, fuck his friend, girl. Do it. You guys are wild and I respect that shit. My husband's childhood best friend asked me for a favor, then humiliated me in front of her family. I'm done being the bigger person. Originally posted to r/true off my chest. Original post was April 22nd, 2025. I've been sitting on this for a few days trying to decide if I'm just being dramatic or if I've been letting too much slide for too long. So I, 30 female, have been happily married for a few years now. My husband, 31 male, is honestly a gem. Kind, patient, hilarious, loyal. Basically everything you'd want. Which, after having an ex cheat on me with his best friend, is kind of a big deal. The relationship wrecked me for a while, but I worked hard not to drag the wreckage into something new. And my husband? Thankfully, my husband's never given me a single reason to question him until now. Question mark. Maybe? I don't know. My husband and I have a great relationship and we're pretty social and often hang out with each other's friends. I get along with almost all of his group and they've honestly made me feel welcome, except for her, his childhood best friend. Let's call her Claire. Claire has always been cold to me. Not outright rude, just subtle enough to make me feel crazy for noticing. You know that kind of vibe? Every time we've been in the same room, she's managed to talk around me, not to me. I tried. I really did. I've smiled, made conversation, been nothing but warm, even when she's given me nothing to work with. She doesn't show up to group hangouts, but she'll invite him over, and he always tells me, to his credit. He never goes without mentioning it, and he's never weird or secretive about her, but it still rubs me the wrong way. I've tried being friendly. I've tried small talk. Hell, I invited her to our birthdays, barbecues, engagement dinner. She bailed on all of them. She skipped our wedding too, and she only ever seems to reach out to him, usually when she's just been dumped and needs to talk. When I brought it up, my husband says I'm overthinking it, that Claire is just a little odd socially. Maybe she is. I know she trusts her husband, but either he is so aloof, it's like a little unattractive. Like, come on, dude, put it together. This ain't rocket science, all right? We all know Claire's got a fucking rock hard dick for you, bro. Either he does understand and he's like not telling his wife that he understands, or like bro is so aloof to a point that like actually kind of makes me mad. Long story short, that was just my way of saying I'm not a fan of this husband. Then a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, she messaged me. She asked if I'd model for her project. Totally unexpected. And I was caught off guard enough to say yes. Part of me thought maybe this is her trying to connect. Maybe this was her olive branch. I even felt a little hopeful. God, I was naive. So I agreed. My husband offered to come with me since he hadn't seen her in a while and thought it'd be fun to catch up after. When we got there, her family was also involved. And from the second I walked in, it was like stepping into some passive-aggressive Twilight Zone. Her mom and sister kept calling my husband our son-in-law. I laugh awkwardly. Think I must have misheard. It only got worse. During the shoot came more of the snarky comments, jokes about the one that got away and some bonds never fade. Her mom at one point literally said, "We always thought Claire would end up with him, but life has its detours, I guess." And Claire always imagined walking down the aisle with him. And then, "It's sweet of her to fill in though." Oh, come on. I wish I was exaggerating. And Claire just kept snapping pictures, smiling, saying nothing. No, "Hey, cut it out." No awkward laugh, no redirect, nothing. My husband, clearly uncomfortable. I watched him fidget through the whole thing, clear his throat a few times. He tried to change the subject or came nearby me during the shoot. He didn't say much either. He just kind of went quiet. I don't fuck with this husband, bro. They start saying crazy shit like that. You go, "Yeah, but I didn't pick Claire and I never will. Honey, we're leaving." Like, sack the fuck up, bro. That's actually insane to let that disrespect happen. This husband sucks. Like, actual dick. I genuinely believe OP should be more mad at the husband right now than at them. Like, this is an encounter that is like, we are never talking to them ever again. And if your husband doesn't react like that, honestly, red flag. Red goddamn flag. I stuck it out for an hour, let her take her photos, smiled, posed, whatever. But the whole time I felt like I was a part of a social experiment and everyone else was in on the joke but me. When we got in the car, he was silent for a while, then finally said, "Sorry about all that. That was weird, right?" Yeah, no shit, it was weird, bro. And you should have stepped up. And honestly, I didn't even know what to say because, yeah, it was weird. It was borderline disrespectful. And the fact that he was there, saw all of it, clearly felt it too, and didn't step in or pull the plug, it makes me feel kind of alone in this. I'm just tired of pretending the woman is harmless or just awkward. She knows exactly what she's doing. I don't want to start a huge fight, but I'm at the point where I don't want her in our lives. Not as a friend, not as a ghost in the corner of our marriage. No more bending over backwards to be the cool wife. I'm not interested in earning points with someone who clearly doesn't want me around. Anyway, thanks for letting me scream into the void for a minute. I really needed to get this out. Dude, you should start a fight. I'll fucking say it. I don't know, maybe I'm an asshole for this, but I think you need to be really fucking mad at your husband. And your husband needs to stop being a dumb man. If your best friend is pulling this shit in front of your wife, that's not your best girlfriend anymore, whatever the fuck they called it in this story. He should just get rid of her without asking, and by God should OP be asking. Not even asking, demanding, screaming, shouting, threatening divorce. Because what the fuck was that? Miss me with this kind of love, y'all. I want a partner who, like, if that ever happened, she would shut it down ASAP Rocky. That is the bare minimum of being in a relationship with someone, is that they stand up for your relationship. It's actually that easy. He's encouraging this behavior by not speaking up. 100%. Being silent is the same as encouraging. That's so insane. I mean, the fact that OP stayed there too, like, girl, anybody shows you that level of disrespect, you fucking tell them to suck a dick and you leave. That's insane, y'all. There is an edit here. They made a clarification that English is not their first language. They're also just clarifying a few things people were asking about. Claire is actually a photography major, and the shoot was part of her final project. I'm not a professional model or anything, but I've done some hobby modeling here and there. So when she asked if I'd help out, I thought it was a casual favor. Why at her house? She comes from a wealthy family and has a fully set up photo studio in their house, which is why the shoot happened there instead of a regular studio. I honestly thought it'd just be her and the camera, not a full audience with drinks and commentary. Additional background, I grew up in a pretty emotionally abusive household, so I think I've gotten too used to passive-aggressive comments and just sort of freeze up. Maybe that's why I didn't react more in the moment, but yeah, it definitely hit harder after the fact. I will update you as soon as possible. A couple of relevant comments that OP replied to, so I'm just gonna read them because I'm guessing we're gonna have some character development here. So one commenter said, "Borderline disrespectful. I'd hate to see what you think is actually disrespectful." OP replied, "Wow, reading your comment and honestly so many others has really helped me see just how not okay that whole situation was. Think I was so used to brushing off this kind of behavior that I didn't even realize how deeply disrespected I was. I grew up in an emotionally abusive household where snide comments and passive aggression were just part of the background noise. So when someone pulls that kind of crap now, I think a part of me automatically minimizes it. Like, oh, I've heard worse. But reading all your reactions kind of snapped me out of that. And yeah, it hurts that my husband didn't shut it down. I've been trying to rationalize it in my head, like maybe he didn't want to escalate things because it felt like a trap, or that he is not used to being in these kinds of situations. None of that excuses it though. not even a little bit. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, really talk. Not brush it off, not laugh it away, just lay it all out. Because at this point, I need to know where he stands. Thanks for the reality check. I needed it more than I realized. All right, good shit. Put your whole dick on the table, OP. That's what we want. Okay, and then we have a long update, April 23rd, 2025, about a day after the original post. For those wondering, 1, no, they never dated. He had a high school crush on her over a decade ago. That's ancient history. 2, no, I don't think he's ever cheated, emotionally or physically. He's always very open and honest. We have each other's passwords. 3, they barely see each other anymore in person, maybe once every few months. We live about 2 hours away. Okay, so here's the update. Funny enough, I didn't even get the chance to sit down and talk to my husband before something else happened. I just can't believe my life at the moment. Anyway, I was still trying to process what happened and sort through my anger towards Claire, and honestly, toward my husband too. That's when I got a message from my sister-in-law. We'll call her Madeline. I'm really close with Madeline. She's part of the wider social circle that Claire floats around in. They're friendly, but not close. She sent me a screen recording from Claire's close friend story with a simple WTF. It was a clip of me posing during the shoot, no music, but in the background, you can clearly hear Claire's sister say, Claire should have been the one to marry him. I lost it. I waited until my husband got home from work, sat him down, and showed him the video. He watched it once, then again. His whole face changed. He finally looked pissed. I could not help but think, why didn't he have the same reaction there? Why is the video making you mad? Like, honestly, y'all, Claire could have just posted this video because she's fucking stupid, you know? Y'all ever posted something on your story and you didn't realize the background had some, like, dumb shit that, like, you would have preferred to? I mean, hopefully it wasn't that embarrassing, but, like, y'all, the one that I always think about is, like, I'll be at a concert recording, but also singing, and then I'll post it, and then I'll realize after it's been up for hours that you can hear me shittily singing it in the background. Like, I understand how you can accidentally do something like that. Like, I don't understand why bro is getting mad now. Hey man, the time to get mad was when it was happening right in front of your fucking face. So I laid it all out. I told him everything, every snide comment, every time Claire made me feel small, how I'd always tried to be civil, how I never asked him to choose between us, but I was done being polite while someone consistently disrespected me. I told him, if this doesn't bother you enough to act, we've got a bigger problem. I'm not going to be in a marriage where I have to beg to be defended. I need a partner who stands up for me, and if it's not you, then I need to rethink this. He didn't argue, didn't get defensive, and I know he feels sorry. Hell yeah. That's putting your whole dick on the table right there, chat. Take notes. Pull out the pen and paper. Then I showed him the Reddit post. He tried to read every comment. Some of them made him tear up. When he finished, he looked at me and said he feels like the worst husband. He let this happen right in front of him. He is so sorry and asked me, what do you need from me now? I told him straight up, this isn't just about her anymore. It's about whether or not you're willing to protect this marriage, but I'm not going to feel like I'm second place in my own relationship, so it's either me or her. So we called Claire. She picked up all cheerful, acting like nothing had happened. We brought up the video. She immediately got defensive. Oh, come on. It was just a joke. Are you really mad over that? Seriously? And that's when he stepped in. This isn't just about the video. It's the constant disrespect towards my wife. I didn't say anything before because I didn't want to lose your friendship, and I convinced myself you didn't mean it. But what happened at that shoot, that was disgusting. My wife came to support you, and you and your family treated her like a joke. I didn't speak up then, and I'm ashamed of that. But that ends now. I don't even know why I held on to this friendship for so long. If you can't respect my wife, you don't respect me. She laughed. Literally laughed. Wow, you're really cutting me off over that girl. Oh my God, I was ready to fight. But husband calmed me down, said to Claire, if choosing between you and my wife ever felt like a hard decision, I wouldn't deserve her. We're not kids anymore. You need to grow up. I simply do not want to be your friend anymore. I have nothing else to say. Telling you he can be a gym sometimes. You know what? He's making his way out of the doghouse, but like, bro's still stuck in there in my opinion. He did one thing right because he kind of needed to be told to do so. I don't think we should be giving him any pats on the back, me personally. But yeah, we blocked her and her entire family. Since then, he's been checking in with me, not trying to fix things, just showing up, listening, understanding. He finally sees what I've been dealing with. We've still got some healing to do, but now I know where he stands, and that changes everything for me. And then the obligatory thank you. I mean, I'm glad it ended well, but I'm still fucking mad at the husband, high key. Like, that should just be common sense. Like, we need to have a class like Common Sense in Relationships 101. Hey, if someone's shitting on your wife, whether it's your best friend, her entire family, or some fucking stranger, you stand up for them. Wild, bro. I mean, I get it. OP doesn't sound like they came from a healthy household, so like, I get it. I'm glad she got there, but holy fuck. final update, July 24th, 2025. The update itself isn't dramatic. After that last call, we blocked Claire and her whole family, and that was it. No follow-up, no weird texts, no fake apology, nothing. Just silence. And honestly, that silence was kind of the best thing she ever gave me. My husband's been great, not doing too much or trying to overcompensate, just steady. He finally sees how much I was putting up with. He's been more protective in a real way, not just in words. He owns how passive he was before. It doesn't feel like we've been trying to move on. It feels like we're on the same page now. I think the biggest shift is internal. I'm not second guessing myself as much. I'm not trying to win people over who have already decided not to see me. I feel a lot more grounded, and it's because I finally spoke up instead of brushing things off. So yeah, not much drama, but a lot of clarity. Thank you to everyone who commented or messaged or just listened. I'm probably going to delete this account soon, but this thread honestly helped me more than I can explain. For anyone else dealing with subtle disrespect that makes you question your own gut, you're definitely not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You don't have to keep being the bigger person just to stay nice. Okay, so nothing insane. More just like confirmation that the husband stepped up even more than he did in this update. I don't remember exactly, but I remember he stepped up quite a bit in this update. Because with this one, I was like, bro, divorce immediately. And I think at the end of this one, I was like, you're doing okay. Me and my boyfriend of 3 years just had our first baby. We're white. The baby is black. I have a close black ancestor, but significant other is furious and accusing me of cheating. We have a 26 female OP and a 29 male boyfriend. Original post October 8th, 2015. As the title says, me and my significant other just had our first baby. We were over the moon when we discovered the pregnancy, and we were both really excited to have a child together. We wanted to get married next year, and everything was going great. We were happy. We both have very white, pale skin, blue eyes, brown and blonde hair. However, my great-great-grandpa was black, and some of his features have popped up here and there in our family. Kinky hair, darker skin, more black-looking facial characteristics. My significant other knows this and has seen some of my aunts/uncles and cousins who have those features. I, however, don't have any myself, and neither does my mom. Our daughter was born 5 days ago, and I guess she just got all the dormant genes in me because she's really dark skinned compared to us with really curly hair. I think she's adorable, but my significant other flipped. He accused me of cheating, that the baby couldn't possibly be his. I've never given him a reason to suspect me of infidelity, and I've certainly never cheated. We argued about it. I pointed at all my cousins and other relatives who have black features, but he absolutely refused to listen, said our daughter looked too black for that to be a plausible explanation. He stormed out of the hospital, sent me a text an hour later that we were over, and when I got home from the hospital the next day, he wasn't there and most of his personal belongings were gone. I tried to reach him, but he didn't answer my calls or texts until 3 days later, when he told me he demanded a paternity test to prove that I was a liar, and if I refuse, I'll never see him again. I'm completely broken down and hurt over this. Our entire relationship has been so sweet and rational. This is completely unlike him. If he had just calmly asked for a paternity test to begin with, I would have been hurt, but I guess I could understand the concerns. Our daughter looks nothing like him. Yeah, see, this is where I'm kind of at. Like, I think he's having a really bad reaction. I am very unfamiliar with genetics, so I could be very wrong here, but isn't it kind of wild that with a great-great-grandpa who is black, and I'm assuming if you are extremely white passing, that those genes have become more and more dormant? Would it make sense for a baby to be able to come out just like completely different skin tone from both the parents to a degree that would result in a reaction like this? I can somewhat understand the reaction, but he does need to listen to the girlfriend. That's what I'm thinking. I can see him being like, okay, this is a little suspicious. I need a paternity test. But I also think he's overly freaking out about this if he knows that there's at least a chance that this is something that can happen with her genetics. It can happen. It's just a recessive gene or something. Short answer, it's complicated. Long answer, it's still complicated. Okay, so you guys are basically saying, yes, it can happen. Because like, listen, I think too, if me and my partner are white and they have African-American descendants, but like they don't necessarily show it, and we have a baby and that baby comes out darker and not necessarily looking like me, I could understand like, hey, I just want a paternity test just to make me not have anxiety about this. And I think that's fair and valid. I hate that shit. I don't agree with that shit about like, oh, every man should get a paternity test. That's stupid. That's misogynistic. That's bullshit. But if there's like maybe a little bit of a question mark, and for you to feel more at at ease, the paternity test would relieve that anxiety, I actually think it's pretty okay. What's always wild about these stories to me is how people can do a 180 on their partner. Well, TDD, I think where this might be going is he might be getting cold feet. And this is just a manifestation of him not actually wanting a kid and now having an excuse to not actually have to take care of that kid. If he had calmly asked for a paternity test to begin with, I would have been hurt, but I guess I could understand the concerns. Our daughter looks nothing like him, but I don't think our relationship can survive this even when I proved to him I wasn't lying. Should I go through the test or just cut my losses here and raise her alone? I mean, I think you should just go through the tests, if anything, to prove him wrong. Also, I think it's important to go through the test because if you guys do end your relationship, you're still gonna want proof that he's the dad so that he can provide child support. The edit on this is I decided to get the test done. I'll update you all when I get the results. I'm still angry, but I guess I understand him a bit better now. There is a comment from OOP where she elaborates on her family history. 4 generations back, my great grandma and all her siblings look really black. My grandma less so. My mom's generation is the first to have completely white looking kids. I think this is in reply to something that we don't get context for. OP says, and I don't think so. My friends joke that my butt is so big, I must have inherited that. But I don't think big butts are an actual racial trait, just more of a stereotype. Plenty of white girls with big booties. Yeah, I don't know if that clarifies anything to me because pretty much from your guys' chats, I'm kind of understanding that genetics are weird and like, yeah, is this super common? No, but it is possible with genetics. Don't get me wrong. I understand OP's husband being like, this is a little bit weird and will make me insecure. But I think what y'all are saying in chat is 100% correct of like, it's all about the reaction. Accusing your partner of cheating isn't something you should just do lightly whenever you feel like it. Don't get me wrong, I think he has a reason to be a little question mark suspicious, but there was a mature way to go about it when giving your partner the benefit of the doubt, when also there's an explanation of the fact of like why it is the way that it is. Update, October 13th, 2015, 5 days later. First of all, I want to thank all the commenters who helped me see my significant other's side and calm me down enough to take the test. Well, the results are in, and of course, she's his. The whole process was absolutely ridiculous. I got an appointment with the doctor and texted significant other the time and location. He didn't answer, but showed up. And the entire time, he didn't say one word to me. And he didn't want to touch or even look at the baby. Yeah, see, that is a little suspicious to me. And left as soon as they'd taken his sample, despite the doctor asking him to stay so we could go over a few things. Once he left, I just broke down. And I must say the doctor was really nice, didn't judge me or accuse me of anything, just calmly went over how the test works and told me babies are often born darker than they actually end up being. Baby was an absolute champ, barely fussed when they drew her blood. I got the results yesterday. I texted significant other the news and asked if he wanted to come over and open it with me. After almost half an hour, he finally responded, yes, he'd like to come over. I'm thinking he either sent it while on his way or he's not staying very far away because he was here in about 15 minutes. Well, we opened it and read the positive test together. He turned white like a sheet and then just started bawling. I had to shush him because he was crying so loudly. And finally, I got an explanation for his flip out. I mentioned in a comment on the old post that he was an only child to his very old parents. His dad died a few years ago, and his mom lives alone a few hours drive from us. I haven't met her often, but she seemed pleasant enough. Turns out, she hates me. Absolutely hates my guts, and always has. I had no idea about this. She's always acted kind of snobby, sure, but I had no idea she disliked me this much. When my significant other called her to tell her the good news 8 months back when we discovered the pregnancy, she started crying. He never told me this. And as the months passed, she continued being super negative about the whole thing, saying she doubted the baby was actually his, I was below them, poor people cheat because they're raised in a fucked up environment, in parentheses, WTF, question mark, exclamation point. And instead of talking to me about this, significant other kept silent while constantly doubting me more and more. Baby being black just put the final nail in the coffin that his mother was right and I was a good for nothing cheating bitch. I mean, listen, does this mom suck? 100%. But like, where's the communication here, bro? Like, if my partner's family member hates me, I need to know that shit. Like, now we're not even in territory of him and his bad reaction to this whole situation, but also this dude wasn't communicating an important thing to you, which is that his mother hates you and is actively accusing you of cheating on him just because you don't come from the same wealth class as them. I think that's pretty important information to have about someone you're gonna marry. After telling me all this, we just sat in silence for a while. Finally, he asked if he could hold the baby. I was still angry as hell, but decided that holding her was his right. He's her father after all. I went and got her from her crib, let him have her, and he started crying again, which scared her, and she started crying too. So they were just sitting there bawling together for a while. Finally, he stopped, handed her back, and asked if he could come home. I was kind of taken aback. I didn't expect him to just flat out ask that already. I laid out everything I said in the last thread, how insanely disrespectful and childish he's been, how he'd horribly broken my trust, hadn't talked to me about his mom's poisonous and ignorant comments, completely ignored me for 3 days, not telling me where he is or if he's even alive, and then he just waltzes in and tries to start living here again. I told him if he ever wanted to have some inkling of a chance of mending the relationship we have, to go to couples therapy ASAP. From now on, he will answer my calls and messages unless there's an emergency. He will not be staying here for a while, and finally, he needs to tell his mom to back the fuck off. She will not be seeing the baby until she apologizes to me in person. First off, good on OP to lay their whole dick on the table. Second, I don't think they should let this mom anywhere near the baby. I think this needs to change to, you need to go no contact with your mom and give her the middle finger. He immediately agreed and finally told me how sorry he was for the whole fiasco. I'm not sure if I can forgive him for this, but I'm gonna try. We had an amazing life before this, and I hope that with a lot of work, we can have it again. Significant other also finally told me that he was staying in a hostel, but it's not very expensive, so he can stay there a while longer. Baby is doing great considering how many stress hormones she must be drinking from me these last few days. Her hair is falling out, but the doctor told me it was normal, and babies often lose most or all the hair they're born with. I'm hoping her new hair will grow in blonde. That will make her even cuter. I applaud OP for trying to salvage it, especially because there's a kid involved. I don't know, maybe if everything else has been hunky-dory with him, he has a shot, but low-key, I doubt that. If he's a little mommy's boy, not communicating shit to his partner, and like jumping from 0 to 100 without giving the partner the benefit of the doubt, when he should know that there's an explanation for what he's upset about that makes sense. I don't know if that's someone you want to be able to work things out with. I do have to say, when there's a kid involved, I think it's noble to try to fix it. Maybe they can come back to it, but to be honest, I kind of want OP to update and be like, yeah, had to snip, snip, chop, chop that bitch. Maybe it's on his way to have some internalized racism. Now knowing the backstory, I don't know if it really came from racism, but what I will say is he was influenced by a racist individual and allowed that to happen. That's why I'm saying I don't think the mom should be anywhere involved in this. Like, let's be honest. If anybody's racist in this story, it's 100% the mom. So, like, I do think OP needs to change it from your mom needs to apologize to your mom is gonna have nothing to do with this child's life ever. My boyfriend of 3 years stealthily took my 11-year-old dog to a vet 80 kilometers away to be put to sleep. It was only luck I found out and got him back. Boyfriend doesn't know I have my dog back, but he comes back tomorrow night. Original post, November 26th, 2016. We have a 23 female OP and a 23 male boyfriend. My boyfriend, Jay, left for a trip up the coast to help family on Friday morning. While I was at work Friday, I got a phone call from one of my ex-flatmates, Bob, who I lived with at uni. He thought he had my dog with him and phoned me because someone had dropped him off to the vet surgery he worked at to be put to sleep. Bob sent me pictures and it was my Stixie. I recognized him anywhere. I grew up with him and he was so close to me when I left home to study. There were no questions about it. Stixie stayed with me. Bob kept Stixie with him and I drove to pick him up as soon as I was out of work. Bob also showed me a phone recording he took of the vet's security camera screen. And there's no doubt in the world it's Jay dropping him off. He's even wearing the same clothes he left in this morning before I went to work. Jay has texted me a few times today and I don't know why, but I'm not confronting him about this. I'm actually scared I will utterly lose it at him. I'm running everything through my head on why he'd do this. We talked sometimes about moving north to be near his family or overseas within a few years. I can't believe I'm trying to find reasons for him to do what he did or reasons for me to not rip him a new one and dump everything he owns out on the front lawn and set fire to it tonight. I like that one. Let's do that one, chat. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Set everything he owns on fire. Bonus points if you also set him on fire. I'm half numb and half stunned beyond rational thought. Why can't I get functionally angry here? He texted me this morning like he normally does when he's away. I replied like normal though. We're not big text talkers anyways. He asked me a couple times if I was okay. Everything in the text I'm trying to read into what the hell he thinks he's hiding. I mean, he's probably waiting for you to be like, where's my dog? I can't find my dog. Oh, bro, that is diabolical fucking work, dude. Not only is he a heartless bastard for even being able to send a dog to be put down that from the sounds of it doesn't need to be put down, but then on top of that, the deception, the manipulation, the lying to your partner, that's the craziest part to me. And that's what, if I was OP, I would be leaning into that. I would be texting him like, I can't find our dog. Where's our dog? Ah, the dog's gone. Blah. But like really throwing his shit out on the front lawn and setting it on fire so that when he comes home, it's be like, hey, JK, LOL, the dog's here. Fuck you. We're broken up. Please do us a favor and deep throat a Glock. That's what OP should do in my opinion, bro. That is heinous activity. Ain't nobody doing that to my baby boy Beans. Feed him to the dog. I like that, Hedgehog. I like that. Instead of the dog getting put down, he's getting put down. No, for real. Normalize putting down men like this. Bare minimum, castrating them. Block him and report him to the police. I wonder if OP could report him to the police, right? Like, he doesn't own the dog. What would that be? Like stealing OP's property? I don't know if there's such thing as like attempted destruction of property. Because like, that's what he was trying to do, right? That's fucking wild. How did he expect to play this whole thing off? I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. It could also be considered animal abuse. I did not know that. Damn, shout out Bob though. Bob's the hero of the story. That is so lucky, by the way. That is so ungodly lucky. I wonder how many people that this has actually happened to. Like, OP would have never known if Bob hadn't said anything. That's crazy. Relevant comment. Well, that's terrifying. Do you have a place, a friend's maybe, where you and Stixie can stay for a bit while you get this sorted out? And by this, I mean your new living situation, because you really can't continue to live with the guy who just tried to kill your dog behind your back. OP, I do. At least 2 coworkers would be okay with me contacting them. I want people around me when he comes back. I wish I could make sure he knows he's no longer welcome in this home, nor can he come back and needs to go immediately. But I also know by bitter experience with a friend that kicking someone out of the dwelling they live in is a long process. I understand what OP's saying. It probably would be more of a problem to get him to leave out of a place that he lives and might have his name on the lease, but that's what he fucking deserves. So I think this must be a post in some sort of legal advice Reddit thread, because in the title, OP is asking, is what he did likely to be massively illegal? What steps can I take to protect myself before he returns tomorrow? And I also think it's important to note that OP is in Australia. This was posted November 26, 2016, the same day. Okay, so OP explains what happened, what we just read, and then they ask, how illegal is this? I currently live in a flat that I rent, and my boyfriend pays half, but I'm the only one on the lease. Oh, that's big WWs, because then that means that he has no right to be in there if his name's not on the lease. So you could just throw all of his shit out, change the locks on the door, and tell this man to go fuck himself. At least from my understanding, I'm pretty sure that's how it works in America. I'd be surprised if it didn't work like that in Australia. I want him out ASAP, or I want to be out of the situation as soon as possible. What options do I not have? A friend of mine once tried to have a violent ex removed, and it took months. I want to be out of this immediately. Are my only options to move? How do I protect myself from what my boyfriend, ex to me now, though he doesn't know it yet, may do to the place I rent when I return? I presume my landlord couldn't kick him out if I leave right away. He's never shown any weird tendencies before, so maybe I'm overthinking this. My boyfriend doesn't know I know what he did, nor that I have Stixie back. Sorry for the scattergun of questions. I'm scatterbrained at the moment. He only returns in 20 hours or so, and I don't ever want to see so much as a hair on his head again. Okay, so there are a couple of comments from here. I'm just going to read all of them. One of them says, not legal advice. Keep your dog somewhere else. If he has access to him, who knows what else will happen. And then another comment replies to that saying, seconded. Can you afford to board him? Or have a trusted family member watch him until this douchebag is gone? And I would call that vet to report what he did if your friend hasn't. It might not help you now, but they should be aware. And then another commenter replied to that comment saying, and then ask where the dog is and see how much he's going to lie about it. Here's the thing. I feel like as little confrontation as possible would be the best move here. Like, there's no way that someone who thinks a logical and okay thing to do is take your partner's longtime dog and behind their back go have it put down at the vet. There's no way that that person thinks rationally. There's no way that that person doesn't have a high likelihood of going berserk when they get called out for their shitty actions. I think if OP's name is the only name on the lease, they are legally the only person who has any right of entry into the place. So if OP had their locks changed and told the boyfriend to go fuck himself, there's not much that the boyfriend could do legally to get in that house. I could be wrong, but I think from my understanding, that's how leases work. OP added in the comments of the first post, just got off the phone with my workmate. She's offered to come here overnight and she'll be here soon. We'll figure out what to do in the morning. I really appreciate all your posting. It only took reading a few to take myself out of this stupid stalled state of mind and move into action. It's after midnight here. I'm going to crash hard tonight. Okay, so it doesn't really look like we got any like real legal advice. I mean, maybe there was real legal advice, but I don't know. Nothing added to this best of Reddit updates post. What are y'all saying? For sure needs to be a police report. I actually agree with that as well. Bare minimum, she should definitely report this to the police. What about squatters' rights? Squatters' rights only works as if you're like actually in the place place of residence, you know? He's not there. Like, she could just change the locks and tell him to go fuck himself. That's not true. The boyfriend gets mail at the house. He still lives there. It's called squatters' rights. OP would have to evict him. That doesn't make any sense. So what you guys are saying is I could just have my mail sent to a random house, and then if they don't do anything about it, I can claim squatters' rights at that house? Is that what y'all are saying? There's no way that's true, right? That has to be the most crazy shit I've ever heard. Squatters' rights aren't as prominent as you think. Unless he can prove he got mail there for the last 12 months, he wouldn't need an eviction notice. Chat, looks like OP's gonna have to burn all the mail. Squatters' rights only apply if the owner isn't living there. I don't think OP owns this place. OP said their name is on the lease. Maybe I just don't know enough about squatters' rights. If that's how it works, for time to get my mail sent to a rich person, that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you mean, bro? In Australia, squatters' rights only apply for 12 plus years. Shit, chat, are we gonna have to Google this? Here's what I'll have to say. If OP decides, hey, fuck this guy, I'm gonna get the locks changed on this house. Like, fuck him, I live here now, whatever. If he wants to pursue squatters' rights, he's got to take that up with the landlord, right? If he legally does that, like, I don't know. At that point, OP can just vacate the premises and let him have it. But I think for the current short-term situation, like, if this is me, I'm telling this guy to get fucked and changing the locks on him. And then if he wants to pursue it legally, like, there's nothing that he can do, right? I mean, maybe he could break into the house, but that's illegal. Googled it. In most Australia states, it is 12 years or more. Okay, shit. Listen, the dude's name isn't on the lease. Like, unless they've lived there for 12 years, I tell this guy get fucked. Update 1 was posted the next day, November 27th, 2016. It was just a quick edit. A night's sleep with good people around me helped. I phoned a workmate to see if I could go stay there with Stixie, and she came over here for the night instead. We spoke and we have a plan. Thank you for the links to the NSW laws. It looks like I might be in the clear with forcing my ex out. I am the renter. I am the only name on the lease, and we had no written agreement. From my understanding, he is a boarder or lodger and can be removed quickly. I'll have to clarify, of course, but that gives me confidence. I was freaking out because I didn't know where to start last night. My ex will be confronted with more people I know in the house backing me up. Stixie is also in good health. He's 11 and a bit too fat and slower than he used to be, but he's fine. These photos are from early November when we visited a property out of town. He started life as a farm dog, and going back made his day. No way there's a fucking dog photo. Are you kidding me? Oh no, the photo is gone. Are you fucking for real? Are you for real? That's so sad. Chat, this is the most disappointing day of my fucking life. I've never been more disappointed than this moment in my entire life. And I've slept with your mom. Oh, I'm sorry. That was so immature. That was super immature. Editor's note, link no longer works and I was unable to retrieve the pics. This is the saddest part of my entire night, chat. I'm so sad. I'm so disappointed. He's not microchipped. I'm taking a personal leave day Monday and getting him chipped first thing. Okay. Yeah, definitely the move there. Update 2 posted the next day, November 28th, 2016. He came back. He lied. I was upset and looked it. We gave him enough rope to make excuse after changing excuse. First, he was shocked Stixie was gone and would help look for him. Then he was shocked someone took him to a vet to be put down. Then when confronted with proof it was him, he claimed Stixie was hit by a car and he had to end his suffering. When confronted with a live, happy Stixie, he turned it around and it ended with him telling me he should have had me. What? When confronted with a live, happy Stixie, he turned it around and it ended with him telling me he should have had me put down. Okay, well, I hope you recorded that so you can show to the police and be like, this man threatened my life, get me a restraining order. Like, what? My coworker, her partner, and I told him he was not welcome in the house anymore and that they were moving in with me and that everyone in the house and the neighbor we both get along well with who saw him return on Friday to take Stixie now knows what kind of person he was. He left of his own accord and took some of his stuff. I'm no closer to knowing for sure why he tried what he did. Sorry for jamming up legal advice with this one. It wasn't much of a legal ending. So you didn't burn his shit? Sad. A shame that people like this get off scot-free. I really hope that bare minimum OP filed a police report or something. Like, this should be on record somewhere that this guy is fucking crazy. I also think that they need on record somewhere that this man literally threatened to put OP down. Like, what? Just insane behavior. Who does that to a dog, man? That makes me sad. I love puppies. Yeah, Kira, she was saying that it was very out of character for him, so I don't know. I mean, this was back in 2016, guys, so I don't know if this account is still active. Oh, they deleted all their posts. They might just be better people than me, but if one of my friends' partners threatened to kill one of my friends, they would get the beatdown of their lifetime in that moment. I would go to jail ASAP Rocky, chat. That's crazy. Could have been deleted due to an ongoing legal battle. I mean, maybe, potentially. I do have to say, I was talking to my friend who's a lawyer. She was telling me, she was like, oh, at least 2 or 3 times a week. Part of her job is to go to like the social media of who her clients are up against and look through to see if they posted anything incriminating. And she's like 9 times out of 10, they have posted something incriminating. So if you guys are ever in a legal battle, make sure your social media is nice and tidied up. Mine wouldn't be. I told the doctor my mom was lying about my symptoms. Posted in r/askdocs on June 24th, 2025. Title: I know my mom is over exaggerating my symptoms, but I don't know what to do. I'm a 15-year-old girl. I'm 5 foot and 82 pounds. I take Keppra, hydroxychloroquine, and Adderall. I live in the US. This has been going on for 5 years. I'm diagnosed with epilepsy, undifferentiated connective tissue disorder, and ADHD. My mom thinks I have POTS, EDS, and some other things. Basically, I had a seizure once when I was about 10 on a school field trip. My mom had always been really intense anytime I got sick. She took me to the doctor for every single cold, but this seizure sent her overboard. And since then, she's basically been convinced that I have some kind of serious diseases. At first, I believed her. She was good at convincing me I was feeling things or that stuff happened that I didn't remember because I was having a seizure. But the only one I know I had for sure was the one in 5th grade. And when I was at the hospital after, they didn't find an obvious cause. Since then, my mom takes me to all these appointments claiming I have symptoms I don't, or making them sound way worse than they are. Chat, this sounds like, I can't remember what it's called, but isn't there something where parents will tell their kids that they're sick because it gives them more power and control over the kid? Munchausen, thank you guys. Munchausen by proxy. That's what this sounds like. Whether she's doing it for control or not, the mom is actively doing that to the kid. For example, she'll claim I'm having fevers and that the only reason I don't have one in clinic is because I took Tylenol. It'll be true that I took Tylenol, but not because I had a fever. She just gives it to me. She'll also have me take cold medicine before cardiology appointments. Like she says, here, you're sniffly, take this. But now I'm reading the cold medicine makes your heart rate go up, and half the time, I don't even feel sniffly. It's like she'll plant things too. She'll start saying, you seem lightheaded. Your joints look swollen. You look out of focus. Like she's trying to convince me. And it used to work. But now I'm sitting here like, I feel fine. And I'm sick of all these appointments. I want to do stuff with my friends and stop taking meds that make me bitchy and sad and sick to my stomach. She'll take pictures at angles that make things look worse than they are. One time I got a bunch of bruises after playing on a water slide inflatable thing and taking a bunch of ibuprofen for joint pain. But I got a ton of bruises from it. And she told the doctor they showed up with no cause and I got a full leukemia workup. And she was telling everyone how I probably had leukemia. I didn't. I knew what it was from, but she convinced me that playing on inflatables would never cause that kind of bruising unless I was really sick. So I didn't say anything. The problem is now it's been years and I'm afraid if I say something, we're going to get in trouble. And then no doctor will ever believe me if I do get sick someday. I don't know why I didn't say something sooner. I've been pretty sure for like 2 years that she's making most of this up, but it's confusing and I don't know. I thought maybe she was right and I was just brushing things off. Sometimes it would feel like she was right. What do I do? Can I tell the doctors I see that it's probably not real? Or is this going to ruin my medical care forever? Also, I really did have a seizure when I was 10. I was at school and there was a whole cafeteria of witnesses. So that wasn't made up. I don't even know what's real at this point though. I had a high ANA, in parentheses, 1 to 160. But I don't think a lot of the other symptoms that got the connective tissue disease diagnosis were real. I'm not trying to say it's not my fault too. I should have said something sooner, but I feel stuck. Definitely not your fault. Like, this is your parent that you're trusting to have your best interest in mind, and clearly your mom has some hanky-panky weird shit going on here. Please help me figure this out. I see a cardiologist on Thursday and I want this to be over. Also, I know my BMI is low. I don't eat a lot. I'm working on it. Chat, what is a high ANA? Anti-nuclear antibody. Oh, blood test for autoimmune. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. I'm just wondering if Munchausen is considered abuse by social services, because I think that's the move. I really hope they take that serious, and therefore people in the comments should be telling this person, you need to reach out to a trusted adult right now. It is, but it's hard to prove because they don't trust the kids often. So my question on this too is like, would doctors be able to put this together? If a mom keeps coming in and being like, my kid is sick, and you always are doing tests on the kid, wouldn't that be a red flag for it? Like, wouldn't there be documentation of like, hey, this mom is trying to get their daughter tested for like 80 bajillion things, and now the kid is saying this is Munchausen, this is abuse? Like, is that not good enough evidence for that? It would be a red flag. It's often noted in systems, but it's not often investigated because sometimes the kid's really sick and parents are desperate for answers. That's a good point too, I guess. But I mean, if the kid is saying it, because like, I'm not extremely close with them, but I knew these gals in Minnesota who like their adoptive mom was pulling the Munchausen shit. She would tell them that they had fetal alcohol syndrome because their original birth mom was an alcoholic. Well, they were twins and drank while they were in her belly. And like them even coming to terms with it was kind of crazy. I watched the Gypsy Rose documentary and that shit was extreme. I want to watch that. Yeah, bro, it's crazy, man. Especially someone that you're just like supposed to trust no matter what. I don't know if the doctor can request to speak to a doctor alone because she's a minor. Is that a thing? I feel like I was left alone with my doctor every once in a while. Like there's got to be some things that you can be like, hey mom, I want you to leave. Yeah, no, K-Lava, I think that's so important. Like I think there are some situations where doctors definitely should not be just with the minors, but I think there needs to be like a 3-minute, like, hey, the parent's out of the room. Is there anything you want to tell me type of thing? Some of OOP's comments. To a comment explaining Munchausen by proxy syndrome and seeing if OP can go to a doc by herself. OP, I probably could go to a doctor by myself, but my mom won't let me because she says it's important to have an adult who can explain things and that she wants to make sure she knows the treatment plan. I also don't go back to school until September. Is there some way to signal to a doctor to ask me something alone or go make my mom sign papers or something? Same commenter replied to that saying, if it's possible and you can sneak away for a few minutes, you can call the doctor's office and let them know in advance that you need to speak to the doctor privately without your mother present. If it's not possible for you to sneak away and make the call, I would write a small, easily hidden note before you go and keep it in your pocket. After you're in the exam room, say that you need to use the bathroom, hand the note to literally anyone staff-wise that you encounter. Make it a point to see someone on the staff. Even if you know where the restroom is, go ask them where it is as an excuse to pass the note. It can say something simple like, please let the doctor know I need to talk to them alone and it's urgent, but I don't want my mom to be suspicious. Bro, I love this shit, man. Little things like in bars and stuff where people like have secret signals if like someone's making them uncomfortable. I think this should be like a normalized thing in a doctor's office. Like, to be honest, y'all, I might have used stuff like this, but not necessarily because my mom was like doing anything, but more because like there was some things I wanted to ask the doctor that I didn't want my mom to be present for, you know? OP replied to that saying, thank you. After I do that, what happens? Will they just tell my mom they didn't find anything and I can be done? Or are we gonna get into trouble? Is it gonna make it hard if I have an issue in the future? Same commenter replied, I can only speak as a physician in the United States. I'm not sure if you're based in the United States. But here, once you explain what's going on to your physician is required by law to report the abuse. And make no mistake, based on what you've told us here, you are being abused. An investigation will be opened and you'll have a chance to tell investigators everything. The only one who's going to get in trouble is your mother. You are a child. You are doing what your mother tells you to do, and everybody involved in the investigation will know that. You don't need to be worried about future visits. You'll be taken seriously. Your mom needs a mental health professional. She has a mental illness, and it's one that can quite literally put your life in danger. Life might absolutely suck for your family for a while, but if your mom doesn't get better, she's going to make you get worse. Reaching out to your physician on Thursday is the first step in ensuring that your mother gets the help that she needs. OOP replied to that saying, I'm in the USA. Doesn't opening an investigation always mean I won't live with my mom anymore? Or just she'll get therapy and help? Also, I think my doctors think my weight is from the illnesses they think I have, but it's not. I'm not really eating a lot, like on purpose. And I kind of want to mention it, but is this the right time? Or should I just do one thing at a time? I know I need to have more and I'm trying, but it's not going all that well. Damn. Wait, now I feel like there's a backstory to that too if the kid is not eating enough. This is a reply to a comment calling it abuse. Abuse just feels like blowing it out of proportion. I know what you mean and I know it's not right. It just feels like then I'm exaggerating. She's not hurting me, just pretending I'm hurt. Yeah, but that's such a slippery slope. Like, I really hope the commenters were telling her, like, go do research on some of the awful horror stories around Munchausen's, and you'll quickly realize this shit can escalate so fast. Another commenter said, not a doctor. She doesn't want to hurt you. She almost certainly genuinely thinks she's helping, but she has a mental illness, as the doctor above said. You need to put your health first, and since you sound concerned about her, you can support her as she gets help, and you don't have to stop loving or caring about her. OOP replied to that saying, that makes me feel better too. I don't want to see her as some kind of bad guy. I just don't want to keep getting blood draws and lying to doctors. Replying to a comment about eating less, OOP said, I'm not trying to make myself feel sick by eating less. I'm not really sure why. I just like having something else that's mine, and she doesn't have any say in what I eat. Like, I get to choose this one thing, if that makes sense. Oh shit, so it's a control thing. But then also, this mom doing all this shit is not only getting her unnecessary tests, but also is the source of her eating disorder. Oh my god, this is such a fucking shit show. To a comment with some resources. I'll look at the resources. I think they think my weight is from something else. My mom has been saying I'm having bathroom issues, and I guess I kind of am, but I think it's because of how I'm eating, not the other way around. But it's getting hard to change how I eat, even when I want to now. Like with my friends, I can't relax those rules at all. Oh my god, this poor kid is just in the worst possible situation. Another commenter said, not a doctor, but a pharmacist. She is hurting you. You're currently taking hydroxychloroquine, which builds up over time in your eyes and causes blindness. We still use it in patients with serious diseases like lupus, MCTD, and UCTD because those diseases are so severe and the risk of blindness is outweighed by the risk of organ damage, joint destruction, and death if you don't treat them. Typically, we start this medication in patients who are much older than you as well to reduce how long a patient is exposed to hydroxychloroquine. You are very young, and taking this medication over time could cause serious and irreversible changes to your vision. I think this is probably like the sleeper way that in the short term, OP thinks, oh, it's harmless. My mom just thinks I'm a little bit sick. But now knowing this, girl, you gotta jump on that shit. You don't want to be fucking blind. I'm not saying this to scare you or anyone else out of taking a necessary medication, but it sounds like in your case, there's a good chance it's not necessary. At the very least, you deserve to know if you really have UCTD or not. If the severity of the UCTD is to the point that you need to be on HCQ or not, and if the dose you're on is appropriate for your symptom level. You also deserve to not be blind in your 20s or 30s due to unnecessary medication use. OOP replied to that saying, I didn't know it could cause blindness. I know I started getting my eyes checked every year, but I thought it was because the disease could affect them. Damn, bro. I just feel so bad because it's so clear that this 15-year-old is just very naive and like wants to think the best of their mother, but like is actually in an extremely dangerous situation. That's so fucking sad. OOP adds, I know my mom watches my phone records, like who I call and text. So I'm not sure calling ahead is a good idea, but I think I'm going to write a note. I mean, shit, bro. Or ask one of your friends if you can borrow one of their phones, because this shit is getting scary, dog. OP adds some thoughts in a comment same day, 9 hours later. Here's something else I've been thinking about since I posted. So I looked up some of the eating issue treatment stuff, and it looks like the main kind of therapy is family-based therapy where your parents have to take over your whole diet. And that sounds horrible to me. First of all, I think my mom would maybe like it if I had a problem, and especially if it meant she got to be in charge of everything I eat and do. And that sounds like a nightmare to me. And I'm thinking maybe it's better not to say anything and wait until I'm an adult and can deal with it alone. Oh, fuck, dude. That's not the answer, but I also understand with what you're saying. It's not a good idea if the mom is in charge of your diet like that. But I absolutely would not wait until you're an adult to get an eating disorder figured out, because that eating disorder is affecting you right now and will have long-term effects. Okay, so someone asked about OOP's dad, which I was actually wondering about too. OOP replied, it's just me and my mom. My dad died when I was too little to remember. Do you think I can ask to go somewhere else to get better if it's too hard to do on my own? I really don't want her involved. I mean, my next question is, do you have any family members that you trust? Like, this is just a nightmare. To a longer advice comment, OOP replied, I get what you're saying. Thank you. I do actually like the cardiologist. He's nice and he has a good sense of humor and actually talks to me and not just my mom. So I feel like he's a good person to start with. I just kind of panicked seeing family-based therapy. Oh my God. Okay, sorry guys. I like read a little ahead, but OP clarifies they're 15 female, 5 foot tall, 80 pounds. Holy shit. I feel like the piece of information I really want to know here is, do you have trusted family members you could go live with? Because like, get over there ASAP. Or like, do you have a really good friend whose parents would take you in? Because this is just nightmare fuel, man. Like OOP is severely in a terrible position. And it's just crazy because like, I do think like she can't solve her eating disorder problem until she figures out this mom problem, because the mom is what affects the eating disorder. Like she literally said, I have this eating disorder because it's the only thing my mom doesn't control, which I almost wonder if maybe it would get better if the mom was out of the picture. But I mean, eating disorders don't just go away. 80 pounds is severely underweight for someone who's 5 feet tall. I just hope she's taking this advice seriously. I kind of want to just go to the update, y'all. I hope this has a happy ending. OP dropped an update July 18th, 2025, 3 weeks later. That's when they updated that they're 15 female, 5 foot, 80 pounds. I posted here once before because I knew my mom was lying about me being sicker than I was, and I wasn't sure how to handle it. I took everyone's advice and I ended up telling them at the next appointment. After we checked in, I said I had to go to the bathroom and I left a note with the nurse. I think my doctor maybe looked at it before the appointment actually, because it took a really long time for us to go back. And then in the appointment, the doctor was asking a lot more probing questions and clarifying questions and pointing out inconsistencies with what my mom said. And then he asked to talk to me by myself and my mom by herself too, actually. I mean, W doctor, hell yeah. So I'm seeing a team of doctors now who wanted to verify some of the diagnoses that I had, and they admitted me to do that, like in the hospital. And there was always a nurse or someone in my room with me. You know, to be honest, after hearing her height and weight, I actually don't disagree with this. Like, I do think that height and weight is extremely concerning. I'm not 100% sure because no one actually told me this is why, but I'm guessing it was to make sure my mom didn't say or do anything or give me anything. Is that something they'd actually do? It sounds so dramatic. Or maybe it's normal to check things out in the hospital like that. I don't know. Anyway, they're changing some of my diagnoses now, and my mom is talking with a counselor. She still maintains that she's not doing anything to me, and I'm really sick and just getting influenced by crime documentaries. OP put in parentheses, adding, she caught me listening to the podcast for context. I'm guessing there's a podcast that people were recommending that she listens to about Munchausen that her mom caught her listening to. But things are a little better. She's not supposed to be in charge of any of my meds now. I do that myself, and I write down everything I take and in a journal so there's a record. And I'm not taking the hydroxychloroquine anymore. Thank you guys for telling me to say something. I was really afraid I was going to get in trouble, but no one was mad. Not even my mom, actually. They were nice about it. Maybe a little stern, but nice. I mean, that's definitely better, but something about this is just making me feel icky. Like, it seems like the mom kind of just got a slap on the wrist, and now we have a 15-year-old in charge of taking their medication. Doesn't really sound like the ED was addressed at all. I don't know if it's like a little bit more scary that the mom wasn't mad. There's no way the mom just drops this, right? I don't see that. If she's been this control freak about it, I feel like something else is gonna pop up and it's not gonna be pretty, and I don't want that, obviously. Ugh, that's so fucking scary. I'm also kind of shocked that they didn't get OP a counselor. They gave the mom a counselor, but they didn't give one to OP. Like, I feel like that's the move. Give OP a trusted adult who can make sure that the mom isn't pulling some weird shit. Because like, what this was is that OP was in this box where the mom had control of everything, and the way that she was able to even step outside the box was by posting on Reddit and getting other adults to be like, no, the box that you're living in is massively fucked up. So I hope OP keeps using this as a soundboard. Let me check this profile. No further updates on this, so you guys will have to help me keep an eye on this one. I wanted the doctors to do more, to be honest. Like, who says the mom will keep her hands to herself with the meds? Yeah, like, what if the mom tampers with the meds? I could totally see her doing that. It's scarier when they're calm all of a sudden. That's what I'm thinking, Vika. Like, the best manipulators are the ones that can keep their emotions under control. And if she's calm right now and she's just playing it off as like, ugh, just my kid listening to some podcasts, that's actually more scary. Is it possible they're investigating the mother so she's behaving now? Probably. Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out on this one. That's fucking scary, man.